Welcome students, welcome to lecture number 28 where we will be covering module number 4 under subject financial management. So already we have covered capital budgeting theory covered under lecture number 26 and lecture number 27 we had seen payback period. We were just remaining with what are the different types of payback period and problems on the types of payback period. So today let us see the payback period, like this continuation of the payback period as well as accounting rate of return. These both are the traditional methods of investment evaluation techniques, which is also called as capital budgeting techniques. So this we already know that capital budgeting techniques is divided into two parts: traditional method, modern method. Under traditional method you have payback period and accounting rate of return. Under modern method you have net present value, internal rate of return, modified internal rate of return, and profitability index. So payback period, we had covered it in our previous lecture, but let us just quickly revise. So payback period will tell you the number of years required to pay back your initial investment. Okay. So how is it calculated? You have to see if the returns are equal. Every year, if you're getting the same returns, that means cash inflows are equal. Then the payback period is initial outflow of the project divided by annual cash inflow. Suppose the cash inflow is unequal, then you have to, there are two steps that you need to follow. First, you need to find out the cumulative cash inflows. Then you have to see that year in which the cumulative cash inflow will be equal to the initial investment or the cash outflow. So that year will be the payback period. Suppose if you're not able to find out the exact year in which the cumulative cash inflow is equal to your cash outflow, then you need to use a formula. The formula is n plus cash outflow minus cumulative cash flow of n divided by cash flow of the next year. So where n will be that particular year in which your cumulative cash flow in the ascending order is near to your initial investment. Okay, and cash outflow is nothing but your initial investment. Cumulative cash flow of n, that is you have to take cash flow of the period which is nearest to your cash outflow, and the cash flow of next year. So this up to here we had already seen, and we had already seen problems on it. Today let us see the types of payback period. So there are different types of payback period, students. There are three types of payback period. One is discounted payback period. Next is post payback period and bailout payback period. So what is discounted payback period? So students, discounted payback period is nothing but your normal payback period. But what do you do under discounted payback period? Your cash flows, you're going to discount your cash flows. So students, can anyone tell when I use the word discount or discounted, does it give me the present? Am I going to use the word for the present value or for the future value? Can anyone tell me when I use the word discount? So do I use it for the present value calculation or the future value calculation? If you all can remember your module number 2. Yes, students.
And
See, in module number
present
2, we
value
had.
calculation.
Very good, very good. So discounted payback period is nothing but your returns. See, annually you will be getting returns. Once you are making an investment today, okay, if you are making a heavy investment today, obviously you're going to get returns over a period of time, correct? So those returns, what you're getting annually, you're going to discount it to the present value by using obviously your tables, FM tables, what we have, present value table, four tables we have, right? Table number 1, 2, 3, 4. Now for discounted, obviously you will use table number 3 because it is relating to the present value. So in discounted payback period, all what you will do is your returns, you're going to take the discounted value by using the tables. So what is the formula? Initial cash outflow, obviously that is the initial investment okay, divided by discounted annual cash flows. So the difference between the normal payback period what we have seen and the discounted payback period what we are going to see is nothing but only your returns you're going to discount it using the percentage. The rate of discount will be given using that percentage. You're going to discount, that is bring down the value of the cash flow to the present value. So you're going to discount it and then you're going to find out the payback period. So this is called as discounted payback period. Next you have is post payback period. See students, we know something as pre and post. So pre is which comes before the payback period and post is something, suppose if the payback period is 3 and if the post pay, if the number of years you have got to recover your initial investment is 4, so obviously it is post payback period. So what is the meaning of post payback period? The economic life beyond the payback period is referred to as post
Ma'am,
payback period. So suppose
ma'am,
anyone has any,
PPT is not
Some
visible.
screens are not visible.
is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Slides are not visible.
It's not visible.
No, ma'am.
What is visible? What can you all see?
We can see screen.
Like where you all are. So in my first slide, I asked you all, is the screen visible to everyone? You all said yes, right?
Screen is
Now is the,
visible, ma'am, but PPT is not.
okay. Now is the PPT visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
whatever I had shown you all previously, nothing you all from the first slide itself, you all were not able to see anything.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
I have not seen
So
any.
why was the reply so late? Because see, initially, okay, let this go like this. But whenever I begin my class, like I just ask whether the screen is visible, which means that is the PPT visible. Okay. Now quickly see, I had what I had gone through. I'll just show you all quickly. This was okay. We had covered this theory part, and now is the PPT visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
so students, your portion for your second I is this theory part, complete theory part that we have already covered in lecture number 26. Under investment evaluation techniques, which is a mixture of your problems and your theory, you have payback period, discounted payback period, which is nothing but a type of payback period, and accounting rate of return. So in short, you have the traditional methods of investing techniques in your for second I. So today we'll be covering payback period and accounting rate of return. That is what I showed you all. And capital budgeting techniques. Remember students, you just have traditional methods for your exam. So you have module number 3 complete. Module number 4, you have your capital budgeting theory complete. Traditional methods, payback period and accounting rate of return. Modern methods you will be having in your third I. Is this clear? Next, I just
Yes, ma'am.
revised this particular slide. Okay, I just revised this particular slide. What is payback period and how do you calculate in case if the cumulative cash flow is not exactly same as cash outflow? Then I came to this particular slide and I was explaining this slide that there are 3 different types of payback period, which is discounted payback period. So you all must have heard my audio, right? You'll be able to hear me,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
you can relate it and just see that in case of discounted payback period, it is same as normal payback period, but only your annual cash flows, you're going to discount it and get it to your present value. So it is initial cash outlays divided by discounted annual cash flows. So is discounted payback period clear to everyone? Yes. Yes, students. Is this part clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Discounted payback? Okay, now
Yes,
let us,
ma'am.
okay, so now let us quickly move ahead to post payback period. So what I was saying is, suppose if your payback period is 3 and the post payback period is the number of years required to get your investment is 4. So it becomes post payback period. It means you're getting your investment beyond the payback period. So post payback period is nothing but the economic life beyond the payback period is referred to as post payback period. Okay, what happens in post payback period? It is considered to be worthless, students. Okay, because if you're recovering your amount or after the payback period, okay, so it is considered not to be of worth, because the economic life is going beyond the payback period. That is the reason it is not considered to be of any worth. Next is bailout payback period. Now, what is the meaning of bailout payback period? This bailout payback period is reached when the cumulative cash receipts, okay, that is your cash inflows, plus your salvage value at the end of a particular year is equal to your initial investment. So in bailout period, what you will do is, today if you make an investment in a particular asset, and at the end of that particular life of the asset, obviously you're going to get some salvage value, right? That is some sale value, some scrap value. When I say salvage value, it is nothing but a scrap value which you will be getting at the end of that particular asset in which you have invested. When you sell it, you will get some amount of value, nominal value. So when that value plus your cumulative cash receipts will be equal to your initial investment, that is the time when the bailout payback period will be achieved. So these are the three different types of payback period. So you will be having sums on discounted payback period and bailout payback period, which we will be seeing in today's class. So remember, students, discounted is nothing but simple like a normal payback period. Only you have to discount the cash flows. In your bailout payback period, what you have to do is you have to find out the cumulative. You will be having the cash inflows in the problem. Just you need to find out the cumulative cash inflows. To that, you need to add the salvage value at the end of a particular year. At the end of year, you have to find out the scrap value, which will also be given. And when that, the total of that two will be equal to the initial investment, you have to see the year in which it is equal, and that will be the bailout payback period. So now let us see whatever theory I have explained. Now let us see it practically. So first, we will see sums on discounted payback period. Now, is this screen of problems clear to everyone?
Yes,
Yes?
ma'am.
Okay, so XYZ is considering to purchase. XYZ is considering to purchase a machine, each costing rupees 50,000. The machine inflows are expected to be as under. Calculate discounted payback using 10% discount rate. Now students, first of all, can anyone tell me what is the formula to calculate discounted payback period, or how do we calculate discounted payback period? Yes? We follow the same steps as normal payback period, only the cash flows have to be discounted, that is, have to be brought out to the present value. So suppose if the cash flows are equal, first you need to check whether the cash flows are equal. So can you tell me if are the cash flows equal for machine X and machine Y? Yes, students? See students, the XYZ company wants to purchase machine. So it is an investment decision. They want to purchase a machine which is costing 50,000. So they have two things. For machine X, the returns if they're investing for each year is different. For machine Y, for each year if they're investing is different. And discounted payback works same as your normal payback. Only the cash flows has to be discounted using the discount rate. Now, is it an equal cash flows? Can anyone tell me, is this an equal cash flow or unequal cash flows? Yes? Yes, students?
Unequal.
Unequal cash.
Unequal cash flow. Suppose if it was equal cash flow, what was the formula you would use to find out discounted payback period? Yes. For normal payback period, what is the formula you use? If the cash flows are equal.
Initial cash outflow divided by annual cash inflow.
Very good. So if it is discounted payback period where the cash flows are equal, what formula do you use? Initial cash outflow divided by discounted annual cash inflow. But since it is unequal cash flow, can anyone tell me normally what steps do you follow if it is unequal cash flow? Yes, students? Students, quick, since we have already done, I want it to be an interactive class.
Ma'am, in
Tell
first
me
step, we find the commutative cash inflow.
cash flow, and then we see
Uh,
the year in which the cumulative cash flow is equal to your cash outflow, initial cash outflow. Okay, now students, see, for machine X, since they are asking us discounted payback period, what we have to do is this returns of each year you have to discount it using the tables. Okay, and find out first the discounted cash flow. So you can see the solution here for machine X. First you write the year, that is year 1 2 3 4 5. Write the cash inflows, that is 15,020 as it is. Just write it down here. Next, in case of discounted payback, first you have to bring all these returns to their present value. So can you all tell me this discount rate at the rate of 10% is given here? How did I find out this 0.909 and 0.826? So I have used the tables. So let us go to the tables. These are the tables, students. So table number 3 I am going to use, okay, because we are finding out the present value of a single cash flow. That is single cash flow for the year 1, year 2 separately, year 3 separately, 4 and 5. We are not finding out cumulative or annuity, correct? If it is annuity, we will use table number 4. So table number 3 at the rate of 10%. So where am I supposed to see? Can anyone tell me? Yes. Can anyone tell me where am I supposed to see exactly for this value? See, students, the rate of the discount rate is 10%, and for year 1 I have to check. So I will horizontally see the rate of percent is 10% for period 1. Period is vertically, you will have the number of years. So for 1 it is 0.9091. So I've written 0.909. Okay, you can write 3 digits or 4 digits. It's better you write the complete 4 digits, that will be better. So 0.9091. So then again for the year 2 at the discount at the rate of 10%, you're going to see it is 0.28264. I have written 0.826. Okay, I've just written 3 digits here. Similarly, for 3 years, you will have to take 0.7513. It is total for 5 years. So for the 4th year, you're going to take 0.6830, and for the 5th year, you're going to take 0.6209. So same, I have taken only 3 digits. So it is 0.6209. So after 5, like, you will round it off to the next digit. That is why I have taken 0.621. Is this clear? So I've written the values. Okay. Next, I have to find out the discounted cash flow. So can anyone tell me how did I derive at this discounted cash flow? Yes, students? Yes. Can anyone tell me how did I get this discounted cash flow? Yes, students? Students, are you all there? You have to simply multiply 15,000 into the discount rate. You will get 13,635. So discounted cash flow is nothing but the cash flow into the discounted factor. So this is a factor, so which you have found using tables. When you multiply this the cash flow into the discount rate, you will get the discounted cash flow, which you have to write in column number 3. Now what you need to do is you have to find out the cumulative discounted cash flow. So how do you calculate cumulative discounted cash flow? Take the first cash flow as it is. Okay, to this cash flow you add the second year's discounted cash flow. You will get the cumulative cash flow for year 2, and likewise you have to do for up to year 5. Okay, now can anyone tell me the initial investment was 50,000. So can anyone tell me in which year is your discounted cumulative discounted cash flow is equal to your initial investment? Can anyone tell me, or should we use the formula? Yes, students? Students, please, I want it to be an interactive session so that I know you all are understanding it.
For third year.
So exact same figure is not available here. Exactly 50,000 is not there. So we need to use the formula. Now can anyone tell me what is the formula that we need to use? N plus cash outflow, correct? Now what is N going to be here, students? As that student rightly said, N is going to be 3 years. Why 3 years? Can anyone tell me? Why N in a formula is going to be 3?
Because the initial
Yes.
amount is near to third year amount, cumulative
Correct.
discount.
Correct. So in our formula, we require N, which we got. We require cash outflow figure, which is 50,000 already given. We got cumulative cash flow for the year N. So cumulative discounted cash flow for the year N is 48,930. And we require cash flow of the next year. So cash flow of the next year is 10,245. So all these figures we have to just substitute in the formula and get the answer. So N plus cash flow minus cumulative cash flow of N divided by cash flow of next year. So as I've already discussed these figures with you all, you have to just put these figures in the formula. You will get the discounted payback period as 3.10 years. Okay, that is 3 years, 10 months. Is this clear? Now on the same lines you have to do for machine Y. So what you have to do for machine Y, as it is, you have to take the cash flows, okay, cash inflows. Then you have to find out the discount factor at the rate of 10%. Similarly, by using these tables here, you will use table number 3 because discount word is used to find out the present value. Since it is a single cash flow, therefore you're using table number 3. If it was an annuity, you would use table number 4. So you have found out these factors. Next is discounted cash flow. You will multiply your cash inflow with the discount factor. When you multiply, you will get this particular results. Next step is you have to find out the cumulative discounted cash flow. Why cumulative discounted cash flow has come into picture? Because it is an unequal cash flow, students. It is not equal cash flows. Therefore, you have to find out cumulative. Cumulative is, for the first year, it will be the same as discounted cash flows. For the next year, it will be the previous year's cash flow plus the current year's cash flow. So when you add it up, you will get the cumulative cash flows. So can anyone tell me which year is the year as the discounted payback period which is equal to your initial investment? Is there any exact amount which is equal to your initial investment here? Yes, students?
No, ma'am.
So what you're going to find out is you're going to use the formula. Now formula, you require how many figures? You require totally 4 things. That is N. So what is N going to be here? Can anyone tell me? What is N going to be?
3.
3. Very good. Cash outflow we already know is 50,000. Now cumulative cash flow of N. Cumulative cash flow of N is 31955, and we require cash flow of the next year. Matlab, if 3 is N, the next year will be 4. So next year's what is the discounted cash flow? That is 20490. All these figures you have to just put it in the formula, okay, and get the answer. So the answer is 3.8 years. Okay, so here it was 3.10 years and this was 3.8 years. So which is the best machine, students? Can anyone tell me? They have not asked for the what is the best machine and all. They just asked to calculate the discounted payback period. But just I'm asking, which is the best machine as per you all? 3.10 years or 3.8 years?
Machine Y, ma'am.
Machine
Yes?
Y.
Very good.
Machine Y.
Very,
0.8.
very good, students. Now let us calculate. Now let us do a sum on the bailout method. So did you all understand discounted payback period? It's very simple. It is on the same lines as normal payback period, nothing more in that. Only you have to discount the cash flows using the discounting factor by using the tables. Okay. Next, let us do a sum on bailout method. So under bailout method, you know when does the bailout payback period is going to be achieved? It will be achieved or it will be reached when your cumulative cash inflows plus your salvage value will be equal to your initial investment. So you have to see which year it is equal to your initial investment. That year will be your the bailout payback period. So let us see a problem on that. There are two projects, students, project X and project W. Okay. The cost of the project for project X, cost of the project. When I say cost of the project, can anyone tell me what is the meaning of cost of the project? What is the meaning of this? Cash outflow, very good. Initial investment, any terminology you can use. Okay. Next, the entire life of the project is 10 years for X and W both. Annual cash inflow is 40,000 and here 80,000. So annual means every year there is a similar cash inflow. So equal annual cash inflows, which is 40 and 80. Salvage value is 1,40,000, which is declining at an annual rate of 20,000. So students, salvage value is nothing but the scrap value every year which you're going to get and which is declining. So suppose if this year you're getting 1,40,000 as salvage value, next year you will not get 1,40,000. You will get 1,40,000 minus 20,000. That is 1,20,000. Then for the third year, you will get 1,20,000 minus 20. That is 1,00,000. So what is the meaning of this sentence is salvage value is 1,40,000 declining at an annual rate of 20,000, means every year salvage value is going to reduce by 20,000. Similarly, for project W, the salvage value is 1,60,000, which is declining at an annual rate of 40,000. So if it is 1,60,000 this year, the salvage value, what will be the salvage value in the next year, students? Can anyone tell me?
1,20,000.
Very good. And similarly for the succeeding years, you have to keep minusing 40,000. So that will be the salvage value. Now they are telling to calculate the bailout period. First, you need to know when is the bailout period going to be achieved. So I told you bailout period will be reached when the cumulative cash receipts. So now you require cumulative cash receipts. Okay. So when your cumulative cash receipts plus your salvage value at the end of a particular year will be equal to your initial investment. So what all you require, what all terms and figures you require? First, find out the cumulative cash receipts. So let us go step by step. So first we take for machine X. You write the year, you write the cash flow. Actually, there are 10 years. You can write 10 years, but why I've written 2, I will explain very shortly. Cash flow for each year is 40,000 as it is already given, students, here 40,000 annual cash inflow. 40,000. So first you need to find out cumulative cash receipts. The other name for inflow is receipts. Receipts is something that you're receiving in. Inflows is the same. So cumulative cash receipts. So your first thing you need to find out is cumulative cash flow. So for the first year it is 40,000. Obviously for the second year it will be 40 plus 40, which is 80,000. Okay. Next, you need to find out salvage value at the end of a particular year. So for first year, what is the salvage value? It is 1,40,000. For the second year, the salvage value is declining at the annual rate of 20,000. Therefore, we have taken here 1,20,000 because salvage value is not the same every year. It is going to reduce by 20,000 each year. So what is the total? We have to take the total of this two. Okay, and the total of this two should be equal to your initial investment. We should see the year in which it is equal to your initial investment. That year will be the bailout period. Okay, so what is the total cash flow? Cumulative cash flow plus your salvage value. So 40,000 plus 1,40,000 will give you 1,80,000. Next, 80,000 plus 1,20,000 is 2 lakhs. So in which year your particular cumulative cash inflows plus salvage value is equal to your initial investment? So for project X, can anyone tell me what is the initial investment for project X? Yes,
2 lakh.
2 lakh. And in which year it is equal to your initial investment?
Second year.
So second year is your bailout period. Now why, I hope now you all have understood why I did not do for 10 years. See, I can solve this for 10 years and keep finding for which year it is equal to your, which year it is equal to your initial investment. But I didn't do that because it is waste of time, right, students? So whenever in your exam you solve year 1, then solve year 2, then solve year 3. Suppose within these years only you get the bailout period, simply unnecessarily do not solve for the succeeding years, because your main this motive is just to find out the bailout payback period. Is this clear, students? And always you're going to solve it horizontally, not vertically. Your solution is going to be horizontally and not vertically. Is this clear, students? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So now did you all understood why did I write only 2 years, and though the life was 10 years, but I have just solved it for 2 years. Did you all understand this particular idea why? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Now let us quickly solve the bailout period for project W. So on the same line, students, I'm going to write here cash flow, cumulative cash flow, salvage value, and the total cash flow. So I'm going to do year wise. Okay. So first your cash flow is 80,000 annually. So obviously each year I'm going to write 80,000. Now next you need to find out the cumulative cash flow. So what is going to be the cumulative cash flow? 80,000 of the current year. At for the first year it is going to be the same as the cash flow because there is no succeeding no preceding year's figures. For the second year you're going to take the cash flow of the second year plus the preceding year's cash flow. So 80 plus 80, 1,80,000, and similarly for the third year it will be 1,60,000 plus 80, that is 2,40,000 as your cumulative cash flow. Next, you need to find out the salvage value. See, students, salvage value will come into picture only when you're calculating bailout payback period. For discounted, salvage value will not come into picture. For normal payback period, salvage value will not come into picture. So your salvage value will be nothing but it is already given 1,60,000, declining at an annual rate of 40,000. So for the first year, you're going to write 1,60,000, and likewise, what you're going to do is you're going to minus the salvage value for the second year by 40,000. You're going to get the salvage value for the second year, and similarly 1,20,000 minus 3, you're going to get 80,000 as salvage value for the third year. Next, what it is saying, what is the formula to calculate payback? What is the payback period? It is cumulative cash receipts plus the salvage value at the end of particular year. So you need to take the total cash flows, that is 80,000 plus 1,20,000, which is 2,40,000. Next, 1,60,000 plus 1,20,000, which is 2,80,000. 2,40,000 plus 80,000, which is 3,20,000. So can anyone tell me, okay, what is the in which year is the total cash flow equal to the initial investment? Is there an exact number of years? Is there an exact amount which is equal to your cash outflow, or do we need to use the formula?
We need to use formula.
Okay. Okay. So can you, as you all know the formula already, N. So what will the N be, students, here? What will the N?
2.
N will be, very good, second year. What will be the cash outflow? What will be the cash outflow? What is the cash outflow for?
3 lakh, ma'am.
Very
3 lakh.
Here it is already given 3 lakh. Next you have to find out cumulative cash flow of N. So for the second year, what is the cash flow? It is 2,80,000 divided by the cash flow of the next year, not cumulative, students, only the cash flow of the next year. Remember the difference. I'm again repeating in this formula. In the numerator, you have to take cumulative cash flow, but in the denominator, you have to take the cash flow of the next year, which is 80,000. All these figures, you just substitute in this particular formula. Okay, you will get the answer as 2.25 years as your bailout period. Now, again, I'm going to ask you all a question that here it is 10 years. Why didn't I solve it for 10 years and why did I stop only my solution for 3 years? Yes, students? Can anyone tell me why I stopped my solution in the third year and why didn't I solve it for the complete 10 years? Yes?
Because in third year, cash flow is more than 3 lakhs.
Correct. So when you see this cumulative cash flow, that is the total cash flows, you know that 3 lakh is somewhere between 2 years and 3 years. Somewhere your 3 lakh, your initial investment is between 2 years and 3 years. So you'll simply not solve the problem up to 10 years. So very good. That girl, student has rightly given the answer. Very good. So now is this clear? Is the payback period clear to everyone? Yes, students, is this some... Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us go back to our slide. So we have completed what is payback period, what are the types of payback period, and the problems on payback period. Now, next, let us see what is accounting rate of return method. This is also one traditional method for investment evaluation techniques, or that is a capital budgeting techniques. Now, let us first understand the meaning. Accounting rate of return is also termed as return on investment. Okay, it is the ratio of average profit after tax to average investment. So in accounting rate of return, you will exactly know that after investing, okay, after making an investment, what is the average earnings you're going to get after tax. So this is accounting rate of return, where you will find, where you will, this method will help you know what is the rate of return you have achieved in respect of your investment which you have made basis your earnings. Okay, so obviously when you have made an initial investment and you're getting some earnings or returns, how will you find the rate of return? Obviously your earnings divided by your investment, but in terms of, you're going to find it in terms of your returns. So this is accounting rate of return, so which is also called as return on investment. Okay, obviously when you want to find out your return on investment, it is nothing but returns divided by your investment after tax. So after deducting tax, you're going to find out the earnings. This will be divided by the average investments you're making or the initial investment that you're making. Now, what is the formula to calculate ARR? So there are basically two formulas to calculate ARR, that is accounting rate of return. First formula is average annual earnings after tax divided by average or initial investment. So students, depending upon the information given in the formula, depending upon the information given in the problem, you have to select the, then you can solve the solution using any of this formula which you like, because many authors, okay, in financial management, many authors have used either of this formula. Both the formulas are okay, whichever you solve depending upon the problem. So the first formula, either both the formulas are okay, but I'll just go through the first formula first. It is average annual earnings after tax, okay, divided by average or initial investments into 100. The next formula is average EBIT, that is earnings before interest and tax, in the bracket 1 minus tax rate divided by average investments into 100. Now, let us first understand what is this average investment, or this here you can say the denominator average investment. How do I calculate the average investment? Again, to calculate average investment, there are two formulas. Different authors, if you go through the financial management books or subject, different authors have given different formulas. Different formulas are bifurcated only in this two. So average investment is initial investment, okay, minus the salvage value plus the scrap value plus net additional working capital divided by 2, or simply average investment is initial investment plus salvage value divided by 2. Again, depending upon the information given in the problem, you can select the formula. And your initial investment will be nothing but your initial investment, whatever you have put, plus your additional net working capital, plus your installation charges, plus your transportation charges. So investment basically can be procuring a new product, or acquiring a new product, or procuring a new asset, correct? So suppose if initially you have put 1 lakh in that asset, example, and again you have invested suppose 20,000. So 1 lakh plus 20,000 to install that particular machinery, you have spent again, means you have again spent an amount of suppose 5,000. And then to get the transport, like to get the asset up to your gate, factory gate, transportation charges, again you have spent of suppose 4,000. So your total initial investment is going to be not only your initial investment, but your additional working capital, net working capital, plus your installation charges, plus your transportation charges, which in an example sums up to 1,29,000. So remember, your initial investment is not just what you're investing, but all the other expenditures or all the other investments up to bringing the asset to use. All those expenditures also will be added. So this is initial investment. So, and EBIT, as you know, it is earnings before interest and tax. So before deducting your interest on debentures or interest on bank loans, before deducting that interest from your earnings, and before deducting tax from your earnings, whatever earnings is there, it is called as EBIT, that is earnings before interest and tax. So basically, accounting rate of return is nothing but it will help you to know what is your return on the initial investment that you have, invested. So is this clear? This is just a theory part. We will be doing the problems where you can, relate the problem with the practically, so that you will understand it better. Is this clear, students? Your ARR? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So it is, in simple language, it is nothing but average earnings divided by average investment or initial investments.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
problems on ARR we will be continuing in our next lecture, since we are running short of time. Thank you.